Hello everyone, I'm the Spider and welcome back to my second video about the web. You would think why the web? Because I'm the Spider. Anyway, you can see that my camera is still crap. I've ordered a new camera, but it takes a bit longer. Luckily the sound should have improved by now. You can see this beautiful microphone which has been ordered by Passionate People, the company that I work for. And Passionate People, I got to admit it, it's a shout out to them. Like, it's a really awesome company based in Amsterdam. We have like 40 passionate front end and back end and full stack developers that really help each other out. So they gave me a lot of tips about the previous video, well, including zooming in my IDE and everything. Anyway, what's the topic of this video? The topic is going to be Vite, and Vite is a build tool or a local development tool. And I don't know Vite, I've just read about it on Twitter, so I'm going to show you what kind of stuff I'm following on Twitter. So you should be able to see it right now. Yeah, here we go. You can see Evan You, right? And Evan You, some of the people might know him, or most of us should know him actually, you should follow him. He's the creator of Vue.js. And he is doing some spare time stuff occasionally, and it leads to pretty awesome projects. And well, Vue.js was of course like a thing that he did on the side, and it grew exponentially. But now there is Vite, and Vite was an existing project, and it's a build tool which is based on ECMAScript, and it doesn't require a lot of dependencies. You know, I'm not a build tool expert, but what I knew is that it was really awesome. It was awesomely working with Vue, but now it seems to work with React as well. And Evan You actually created a plugin for it to work easily with React. So I'm actually quite curious how that works. And we are going to explore that together. So let's go to my IDE. I've just implemented all the tips that I could find or that people gave me. So I zoomed in everything. So I hope this is now clearly visible. I'm just going to copy paste the command that he showed on Twitter and see what happens. I already opened the documentation, so I have the documentation available here, which is the Vite documentation. I'm not sure if I need it. But my goal of this is I want to explore if this is a tool that I would like to use for my personal project at first. And when I have covered some of the complex scenarios, and then I might use it as a recommendation for people to use when they do React or whatever, right? So, okay. So we have a Vite config file, which is, I think this is, yeah, so we're specifying React. That could be Vue, right? If you switch it and would plug in Vue. The package JSON, I think this is pretty straightforward. So we have Pika, I think that's, and I'm not completely sure. I think that's a special like ECMAScript React version thing. And then we have Vite and the plugin. So we should run npm install. Let's go to the folder. So that's your app. Npm install like this. Should be pretty fast because it's not a lot of dependencies. Let's see what it gives us. So Vite is an opinionated web dev tool that serves code via native ECMAScript imports during development builds using and with rollup for production. Okay, so what I think is it provides us with the hotcode reloading and everything locally, and it's entirely based on ECMAScript, so you don't have like translations and Babel and those sort of things. The other thing is that rollup is of course a better known tool, which is well, a build tool that allows you to write less configurations, but still it's quite intensive. I tend to avoid tools like Rollup and Webpack, and I'd rather use tools like Next.js or Nuxt.js to do all the heavy lifting for me. And I take the fact that in some ways they are opinionated in what they do. It's all about saving time and have an easy setup, right? So this should work now. Let's see. Yep, it's installed. My IDE gives it the all good. So let's go to npm run dev, which is right here. It serves from the source folder. So while this one is starting, which actually is pretty fast, let's just go into this one. All right, so this one is working, right? And let's see what it gives us. So we have a package JSON leads to the source. There is no reference to main, so I assume that it either defaults to main in the config.js or that it just gives the index. So let's just All right, so that's pretty clear. So we have a root div, which is obviously for any React or Vue app, it's required. And then we have the module, script module. Oh, okay, that's new for me. Like, I'm not really aware of the hot code stuff, but. And then we have the source. Okay, so the source is just leading. So it's just a normal client-side render app. Okay, so this is just default React. Nice. Function-based, okay. So if I am correct, it should just provide me with hot code reloading. It does. Hello, Vite React. So what if I hello myself? Okay, yeah, so that seems to be pretty fast, but it's this very tiny app, of course. So Webpack does the same thing. It might save a couple of milliseconds, but that doesn't really matter for small apps. It's of course, it needs to prove itself in big apps, but it does give me the impression that there's not a lot of stuff going on. There is almost no configuration. The React app works, and it works with all the latest and greatest. It just depends on your Node version, probably. It works with CSS. All right. What if I change this one? It's actually working. Nice stuff. So it's actually reloading the index file as well, but I'm wondering, is this hot code reloading? Apparently it is, right? It's just, it works really nice. All right, so this is my first part. I'm not completely sure if I can use it for my projects, but it seems that it's very easy to set up, and given that it uses rollup for its builds, it should be pretty straightforward as well, right? Like npm run build. I would expect some kind of app for me. I think it was in the dist folder. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look. Did it create it? Maybe reload it. Reload from disk. Yeah, there is. So it has an index file. Let's go to this index file, dist file, I mean. And well, I always have like an HTTP server to serve static websites globally installed, so I can actually run any kind of build using my laptop without having to install anything in the project. So that's HTTP server in my case. It seems to start. All right, so this is the build version of the app, which is pretty neat actually, if you ask me. All right, so that's it. Maybe another time I'm going to dive into the server-side render part, because that's an obvious, clear thing that I would like to see working, and maybe dive into quite some extra complex scenario, but that it's working and that it's easy and that it's probably really fast, because there is no translations going on during this hot code reloading. It's just relying on my laptop's Node version. So if I use Node whatever latest and greatest, it will just work fine with all the imports and everything that I've installed on my laptop. So it's really powerful, and my first impression is really nice. So what I would like to do is I want to give a shout out to Evan You, because he seems to be the one that is constantly creating like really nice additions into tools that he believes are very powerful. And so I assume that this Vite project will really work well for others. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have some comments about it, if you have some remarks, if you have any tips about how to use Vite, or maybe do some complex setups, or if you have suggestions on what you would like me to talk about or to improve my video, well then please leave a comment below, and of course don't forget to like and subscribe, right? See you next time.